Hello, thank you for watching my video. Please feel free to like, subscribe and comment, and also please take a look at the description below for further information. It's common knowledge that Henry VIII was a man desperate for a son and heir. He discarded his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, in order to try and accomplish this with his second wife, Anne Boleyn. But 3 years of marriage to Anne only produced one healthy girl, the future Elizabeth I, and it took Henry till his third marriage with Jane Seymour, after one divorce and one executed wife, and also one break with Rome, also thrown into boot, to finally produce the heir he so desperately longed for, the future Edward VI. For this very reason, Jane Seymour became his favourite wife, and accordingly is buried alongside her at Windsor Castle. But Henry proved to be not the only Tudor monarch desperate for a son and heir. His daughter, by his first marriage to Catherine of Aragon, Mary, who would succeed her half-brother Edward in 1553 after a short interruption by Jane Grey, would prove to be equally as keen for a son and heir, to secure the Tudor dynasty that had been founded by her grandfather, Henry VII. Here I shall discuss Mary's efforts to produce a son with her husband, Philip II, to bolster the Tudor dynasty. Mary was married to the King of Spain, Philip II. Both of them were Catholics, but the relationship was an uneven one in terms of personal feelings. Mary loved her husband dearly, but Philip was rather repulsed by her, and there are some very unflattering descriptions of Mary's physical appearance. Philip, however, had his eyes on the English throne, and a son with Mary would bolster his own position. And indeed, rumours soon began to spread that the Queen was in fact pregnant. The Queen and her doctors believed that she was pregnant as well, and they decided to make preparations accordingly. Anticipation began to build around the country that the Queen was about to give birth, and anyone who doubted the legitimacy of the supposed pregnancy was stifled and even punished. Nurses and midwives were readied, and prayers were said for the safe delivery of the child. The rumours began to grow larger than life, and celebrations started to take place when word got round that the Queen had actually given birth. Bonfires were lit, bells were rung, and prayers were intensified. The jubilation even made its way over the English Channel and into Europe, where gunshots were fired over Antwerp. But the whispers of a new English prince soon proved false. Various reasons were given for the untruths that were spoken about the Queen and her condition. Some people believed that the royal couple had spread the false news themselves as a propaganda tool. Others were convinced that Mary had confused symptoms of a disease with the pregnancy. And some even thought that she was indeed at one point with child, but an illness had caused her to miscarry. One thing is for certain, she produced no son or daughter. This all happened in 1555, midway through Mary's brief reign. The strange symptoms that she had suffered in 1555 had been attributed to false pregnancy. But 2 years later, Mary thought she was pregnant again. And again, no child was born to her. On the first occasion, she had suffered various different symptoms: bloating, nausea, weight gain, and on the second occasion, she had also suffered from weakness. It's possible that she had suffered a false pregnancy at least once, but it's more likely, in my mind, that the symptoms that she had began to experience in 1555 was in fact the sign of a cancer that would develop and eventually kill her in 1558. Her weight gain is possibly the sign of a tumour. I have criticised Mary strongly on numerous occasions, but it is almost impossible to not feel a little sorry for her. For one, her marriage was not a happy one. Philip was simply using her for political gain. He wanted his hands on the English throne and would only continue, after Mary had died, to attempt first to marry Elizabeth I and then to try and take the English throne by force decades later with the Spanish Armada in 1588. Mary loved Philip dearly, but unfortunately for her, the feelings were not mutual, and he had little respect for Mary and actually bordering on disdain. Mary was a woman who was desperate for a child, like her father had been. The fact that she would mistake the cancer that would kill her for the thing that she most cherished in the world is ironic and desperately sad. It is a quite pitiable situation that Mary found herself in towards the end of her life. Her husband had basically walked away from her. She was dying a miserable death, and she died without the one thing that she truly ever wanted. It was a tragic end to a tragic reign.